I am Jen, this is Laura and Vicky. We are ATX Fail Club, and we're the last group, so get excited. We aim to reframe failure as a necessary part of success. One of the things that's happening in society right now is that we only show our best sides on social media. We show our best vacations, the best parts of our relationships, the best meals that we have. Raise your hand if you've shared a selfie or a meal or a vacation photo on social media. Me too. Now raise your hand if you've shared maybe a time you didn't get a job you interviewed for, or a time you let somebody you loved down. A couple of you, all right, but fewer hands. That's because failure is hard to admit to ourselves, let alone share with other people.
And that's what we found in our research. Our team was really interested in learning about women and their stories. And so in our 18 research participants, that's who we focused on. We sat down with 18 women, often in their homes, and talked about their lives with them. We also spoke with 9 subject matter experts related to this field, which ranged from pastors and therapists all the way to UT college professors who do research on topics similar to this. And lastly, we accumulated over 30 hours of data doing this. This is an example of one activity we do in our participant research. We had every woman we spoke to make a timeline of their lives from high school graduation until present day and look at it through different lenses, like marking their confidence level, marking when they felt like they belonged through various groups and organizations, and also huge milestones in their life, whether they be career or education. And this is Maggie, and she told us some really interesting stories. So on this timeline, she marked a few things that happened over the course of a year in her life. One was that she found her biological father, and it did not go well. The second thing is that her mother disowned her. Thirdly, she was fired from 2 jobs. And lastly, her church dissolved. And so all these things led up to her feeling like she really lost all of her bearings all at the same time over the course of a year. And then she wrote this on her timeline. It says that she almost killed herself. So this is an extreme example of some of the stories we heard, but we heard similar stories of women experiencing failures that really added up over time. And this led us to believe that failures really add up over time, and even small failures because of this can completely change the trajectory of a woman's life. So we'd only spoken to women at this point, and we were really interested in this, but we didn't know if it was a universal concept or if it was something only women experienced. So we returned to research, and this time we looked at outside research conducted by professionals and researchers. One study we read told us that this is very gendered in how we react to failure. They found that in the classroom, boys and girls receive feedback around failure very differently. For example, when a boy fails at something, he's given very effort-based feedback, like, oh, you didn't work hard enough at that, you'll do better next time. Whereas girls often receive very ability-based feedback, which is like, oh, maybe you're not good at math. So how does this play out over time when we grow up? It can look something like this. So when you have your first failure, if you're a man, you have the ability and the tools to reflect on it, grow from it, and actually fail upward a lot of the time. Whereas women, because they internalize those feelings and they take it personally, they think it might be based on their abilities, they'll often change course and start over from square one down at the bottom. So that's like you get a D in chemistry. You think, I'm not good at chemistry. I need to change my major. So they totally start from square one again. Over the course of time, if this plays out, you see a huge gap in advancement between the genders. And when we looked at this gap reminded us of other gaps that we see in society, such as the gender pay gap, where women only make 79 cents for every dollar that a man makes in 2019. Or leadership gaps. There's a huge disparity in senior management in Fortune 500 companies, and that even grows when you get to the CEO level. So this gap is the wicked problem space that we were really interested in exploring and working in.
So Jen, Laura, and I launched ATX Fail Club to see if we could find a way to be part of the solution. ATX Fail Club cultivates communities where women identifying humans are encouraged to share and celebrate their failure. We started out this pilot by creating a website with an email list sign up and launching social media channels. We had some really good traction. Already to date, we've had 192 unique website visitors. Of those, we've had 66 email signups, which means that 1 in every 3 people who land on our page are signing up for our email list. On the email campaigns that we send to those on our mailing list, we have an 88% open rate, which may not mean a lot to some people, but if you manage an email for your organization, we know that's really good and we're proud of that. And then finally, on our social media channels, we have 138 followers accumulated so far. So what are we promoting through our website and our social media? We're promoting in-person events for women to come together and share and celebrate failure to test if this is something that resonates with women. These take the form of failure dinners. So the basic idea of a failure dinner is that women are invited to come and share some personal stories from their life, whatever they feel like is a failure. It begins with mingling. People get to know each other. Most of the women who attend don't know each other. For this last failure dinner, we've been designing failure dinners to keep them intimate for optimal sharing. We capped the attendance at 15, and we sold out on our last one and even had folks on our wait list. Also, one woman drove in over from Houston just to attend the event. Finally, almost half of those who bought tickets were strangers to us, which was really excited because we have an awesome supportive network, but there are even strangers that are interested in this concept. So one of the attendees said that as somebody specifically seeking out closer female relationships, this sort of event attracted her right off the bat. After mingling, folks sit down and they share their stories of failure with each other. One of the things we learned from piloting these dinners is that failure means something different to everybody. One person said it made her realize that a lot of us are holding on to things that are really outside of your control. If you guys remember the story of Maggie that Laura shared with you earlier, a lot of those setbacks that Maggie was experiencing in her life, they were not her fault. They were totally outside of her control, but that doesn't stop her from internalizing those feelings as feelings of failure, and that can have significant mental health consequences. After sharing stories of failure, we've incorporated an interactive activity. This is our fire ritual that we hosted at our last dinner, where women are invited to write feelings that they'd like to leave behind after the dinner and throw them into the flames. For example, one woman wrote, "Feeling like I didn't deserve it. I'm not good enough. There are others way better than me, and it should stop me from moving forward." These were the feelings she wanted to leave behind after the dinner, and people reported that the activity felt cleansing. So it isn't enough to just host dinners. We wanted to test whether or not this was having a behavioral impact on people's lives moving forward. Was ATX Fail Club going to implement behavioral change? We tested this by sending out feedback surveys to folks post-event. One woman reported that since attending a failure dinner, she started keeping a little notebook of her failures so that she can record and recognize when she feels like she's experiencing failure. Additionally, 75% of the respondents reported that since attending an event, they've been sharing stories of failure with others. 100% of the respondents said that they would attend another ATX Fail Club event. And then finally, 100% of the respondents said they would recommend ATX Fail Club to a friend. So we're really excited with the traction that we've been getting so far, and I'm going to hand it over to Jen to tell you where we're headed in the future after she shares a story.
So here's the thing. We've been studying failure for 6 months, reframing it as a part of success. And I experienced a failure a few weeks ago, and I should have been immune to the pain of it because I know all about how it's just a part of success. That didn't happen. It felt terrible. I interviewed for a job. I had 2 interviews. Everyone I talked to was amazing. The team seemed awesome. I was so excited to get out of AC4D and have a job lined up. And I didn't get the job. It didn't happen, and it felt personal, and it felt like a rejection. And I would tell myself, this is just part of my success. I didn't feel better until I began sharing my story with my friends. And through some tears, talking it out and talking about saying out loud the voices that are in my head that tell me I'm not good enough, and I realize how silly that sounds when I say it out loud. So it's not enough to know that failure is a part of success. In order to normalize failure, we have to share these experiences with other people. If you think about Maggie, one of the things that happened before her low point was that her church dissolved. So she didn't have a space to share her failures in, or her stories, or people to share them with anymore. So if sharing is so important, we've got to find more ways to do this. So we're going to be launching Fail Mail, where you can share anonymously, either through social media or through voicemail. We're going to work on company programming to help the corporate culture a little bit. And then public storytelling, which will be kind of like The Moth, but stories of failure, open to everyone. And we're working on those. The May Fail Club, that's already scheduled. We have a June failure dinner that's scheduled, and we're working on the date for the Fail Confessions, like The Moth style thing. And we have sponsors. Maggie Louise provided all the chocolates for our last dinner, and Gemelli is going to provide the gelato for our June dinner. And Maggie Louise is also hosting our May event on site, so that's going to be super exciting. And what's great about it is it means that they're aligning with our mission of reframing failure as a necessary part of success. And we aren't the only ones talking about this. Just a few weeks ago, Brie Larson was at a summit, and she said, "We are made by our failures. I'm only here because I failed 1 billion times." So how can you help? Join the club. Hop on our website, get on our newsletter, and follow us on social media. And that's us. Oh, we have stickers. We printed stickers. We have some stickers for y'all. We put them out over on the table. Thank you. And if you have any questions, holler at us afterwards. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Erin.